Hi, my name is Billy Jackson, and I teach mathematics at North Shore Community College. This lesson is going to be on adding and subtracting whole numbers. When we add numbers with several digits, the important thing to do is to line up all the place values and add one column at a time from right to left. So it's helpful to write the numbers vertically or on top of each other like this. We'll start with the number 621. And then we'll write the number 35 below it. And what's important is to make sure the place values line up. So in the number 35, 3 is in the tens place. So we're going to put that right under the 2, which is the tens place for 621. And then the 5 is in the ones place. So here we have all of our place values lined up, which is very important. And now we can add. 1 plus 5 is 6, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 6 plus nothing is still 6. Now let's do another example. So we're going to write our problem the same way as we did before. We're going to write them vertically on top of each other. And we're going to make sure our place values line up, which isn't an issue here since they both have the same number of digits. And we're going to add. So again, we're going to start on the left column right here, and then we're going to work our way over to the left. So here we have a little bit of a different situation here. When we try to add 8 plus 3, we get 11. Now this becomes a bit of a problem. We don't want to do this and put an 11 here. What we want to do is, because this right here is the ones column, so we only want a ones digit here. So in the number 11, 1 is in the ones column. And then the second one is in the tens column. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry that 110 over to the tens column. That process is called carrying. And now we can add all these numbers in the tens column. 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 9 is 15. So we're going to write a 5 here. And then that 1 is going to get carried over to the next column, the hundreds column. And then we can add the numbers in this column. So we have 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12. So we'll write a 2 again and carry the 1 from the 12 over to the next column. And now we just have a 1 in this column, so our final answer is 1,251. Now let's talk about how to subtract whole numbers. When we subtract numbers with several digits, we're going to do it somewhat similarly to how we added them. We're going to make sure we line up all the place values as we write them vertically or on top of each other. And then we're going to subtract one column at a time, starting at the right and working our way to the left. So let's set this example up right here. 674 minus 142. All right, so we'll start on the right. 4 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3, and 6 minus 1 is 5. And there you have it. That's the solution, 532. Let's do another example. So this example is 782 minus 94. So we'll set it up just like the last one. We need to make sure that our place values line up. So for 94, the 9 is in the tens column, so we'll put it right there. And the 4 is in the ones column, so we'll write it right there. And now we can subtract. But a little bit of a problem comes up here because we can't take 4 away from 2. So what we're going to do here is a little strategy called borrowing. Everything here in the tens column, every one number there is worth 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow 110 here. And as we borrow 110 there, oops, that shouldn't be a 7. And a 1, that should be a 7. We borrowed 110 there. And as we borrow 110 there, now we can add 10 into the ones column. So if we add 10 under the 2 that was already there, we now have 12. And now we can subtract that. We can do 12 minus 4, which is 8. Cool. Now we have another problem. We can't do 7 minus 9. So we're going to need to borrow from the hundreds place. We're going to borrow one from the hundreds place. And that's going to give us 100 is going to give us 10 tens. So we can now add 10 more into the tens column. So we already had a 7, and if we add a 10 onto 7, we get 17. Some people just like to stick a 1 in front of that original 7, but I like to cross it off and write the new number on top. So now we can subtract. 17 minus 9 is 8, and 6 minus nothing is 6. And there you have your solution, 688. All right, let's do one more example of subtracting together, and this is one that's also going to have borrowing involved. And this is one that I find a lot of students have trouble with. So the first number is 14,000, and the second number is 2,358. And we need to make sure that all of our place values line up, as we've been doing through this whole video. Great. All right, so now we want to borrow. Because we know that we can't do 0 minus 8 all the way on the right. Now, a problem is if we try to borrow from the tens column, well, there's a 0 there as well. So how can we borrow from 0? So the way I do this is I go all the way over until I find my first non-zero digit, which is the 4. And I'm going to borrow 1 from the 4. So if I borrow 1 from this 4, then that means 1,000 is equal to 10 hundreds. So I can put a 10 there. And I know I'm going to need to borrow from that first 0. So I will now that I have a 10 here, I can take 1 away from this 10 and give myself 10 tens. And now all of that helped me for my original goal, which was to get something over here in the ones column. So I'm going to borrow 1 10 here, and that's going to give me 10 ones. So now I am all set to subtract. I can do 10 minus 8, which is 2. I can do 9 minus 5, which is 4. I can do 9 minus 3, which is 6. I can do 3 minus 2, which is 1. And then 1 minus nothing is 1 still. So there I have my solution. Awesome. Now you try an example. Pause the video and try to solve this problem, 700 minus 249. And then when you press play again, you'll see me work out the problem and see if we got the same solution. All right, let's give it a try. Let's see if your answer matched mine. So the problem is 700 minus 249. All right, so I can't do 0 minus 9, which means I would need to borrow. But I can't borrow from that 0 before it, which means I'm going to go borrow all the way from this 7, the first non-zero digit. And as I borrow that 100, that will give me 10 tens. Now I can borrow one of these tens, which will give me 10 ones. And now I can subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 4 is 5, and 6 minus 2 is 4. And there you have your solution. Great. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and keep practicing.